Gender dysphoria for most of our history, all the way through the DSM-5, has been characterized as a mental health disorder, and I don't think it's compassionate to affirm that. I think that's cruelty.
This is Vivek Ganapathy Ramaswamy, a candidate for the 2024 Republican Party presidential primaries. He is the first millennial presidential candidate running as a Republican, where his campaign slogan, "A New American Dream," is slowly but surely catching everyone's attention. His platform has 25 policy commitments he wishes to enact if he were to become president, where these commitments can be divided into 5 main mission statements. Number 1, revive American national identity. Number 2, unleash the American economy by achieving at or greater than 5% GDP growth. Number 3, declare independence from communist China. Number 4, dismantle managerial bureaucracy. And number 5, end weaponization of government and financial markets. That being said, let's dive in. Before we begin to discuss his policies, I think it is crucial to know some background information of Ramaswamy, especially how he grew up and what he did for a living before running for president. Vivek Ramaswamy was born on August 9, 1985 in Cincinnati, Ohio, to Indian immigrant parents. His father worked as a patent attorney and engineer for General Electric, while his mother worked as a geriatric psychiatrist. All in all, Ramaswamy would note how hard his parents would work in order to make sure that he and his brother Shankar received a great education and additional opportunities. From a young age, Ramaswamy understood and exhibited the importance of diligent and hard work. To cut the story short, calling him an overachiever is an understatement. He graduated from St. Xavier High School as class valedictorian in 2003. From there, he would graduate from Harvard with a BA in biology, summa cum laude, in 2007, and he earned his law degree from Yale in 2013. During his time from Harvard and Yale, he received numerous accolades. What's really impressive was that while attending law school, Ramaswamy co-managed a hedge fund's biotech portfolio known as QVT Financial. Before that, in 2007, he, alongside American entrepreneur Travis May, co-founded a technology company called Campus Venture Network, which was later acquired by multi-billion-dollar nonprofit organization called the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. Going into his later work starting in 2014, he founded Roivant Sciences, a pharmaceutical company focused on applied sciences for drug development. He served as CEO until 2021 and founded an Ohio-based asset management company called Strive. Ramaswamy created this firm in order to combat environmental, social, and corporate governance initiatives, and positioned the company as an alternative to those who have allegedly been compromised due to ESG activities. These companies are namely BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. From his ventures, Ramaswamy has accumulated a significant amount of wealth, close to that of $600 million. From there, Ramaswamy has written 2 different books, Woke Inc. and Nation of Victims. He is currently married to his wife, Apurva, a throat doctor, and has 2 sons. So, from his background, Ramaswamy is a well-studied, intelligent entrepreneur with a background in law, not to mention the fact that he is a very much politically literate person, even though he started to get into politics not too long ago, according to his recent Breakfast Club interview. Now, getting into the political side of Ramaswamy, he is currently running on the platform of America First 2.0, where he wants to take America First further than Trump.
That's what I've done in this campaign with what I call the America First 2.0 agenda. Taking the America First agenda even further than Donald Trump did, because we're doing it based on first principles and moral authority.
Going into the first mission statement, which is to revive American national identity, Ramaswamy believes that millennials, let alone the future generations of America, have an identity crisis and do not know how to answer the question, what does it mean to be an American? It's best that I let him explain it himself.
I believe we are in the middle of a national identity crisis. I speak as a member of my generation here. I'm 37 years old. I'm a millennial. I was born in 1985. My generation, and I think every generation today, is so hungry for a cause, hungry for purpose and meaning and identity at a point in our national history when the things that used to fill that void, things like faith, patriotism, hard work, family, these things have disappeared.
What do you think? What should Republicans be for?
Basic American ideas that set this nation into motion, Steve. Ideas like merit. The idea that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character. Meritocracy and ideas, that the best ideas win rather than getting censored. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or black or white. These are the basic rules of the road that I think most Americans agree with. And I just don't want to see the GOP squander this historic opportunity to fill this national void, this black hole of American identity, where people my age and younger can't answer the question of what it means to be American.
As you can see, he places firm importance that every person in the US needs to know how to answer that fundamental question. He illustrates the problem that millennials and later generations want to find a cause to support as they feel empty. This emptiness, per Ramaswamy, used to be filled with values of faith, hard work, patriotism, and family. Now it's been replaced with wokeism, climatism, transgenderism, and other so-called secular religions. He believes that conservatives have the perfect opportunity to refill that void with American causes. Ramaswamy believes that there needs to be a restored faith in American patriotism and a commitment to shared values, especially values that have helped the US on the international stage, which includes but not limited to individual liberty, free enterprise, and American exceptionalism. In doing so, Ramaswamy sees it essential that the nation face the discordant issues that keep painting America as an inherently racist and unfair country, especially that of critical race theory. If you guys don't know what critical race theory is, I highly suggest you guys go watch Ryan Chapman's video on it because he gives a very unbiased lesson on the subject. Only in this way does Ramaswamy believe that America can go toward a more just and equal path for everyone, no matter an individual's race and or ethnicity. Thus, the 5 major policy commitments that he has under this mission statement is: number 1, use the military to secure the southern border; number 2, end affirmative action by repealing Lyndon B. Johnson's Executive Order 11246; number 3, protect American children by banning addictive social media under the age of 16 and banning gender confusion care for minors; number 4, make political expression a civil right and end unlawful diversity, equity, and inclusion indoctrination; and number 5, withhold federal funding for cities that refuse to protect Americans from violent crime. Within his vision, Ramaswamy finds the economy as the top priority to improve under his presidency. As a very successful entrepreneur, he has a proven track record of creating multi-billion-dollar companies, leading large organizations, as well as being responsible for creating the financial livelihoods of countless numbers of people. This directly comes to his second mission statement, which is to unleash the American economy and achieve a GDP growth at or greater than 5%. This might be a very small number to some, but outside of the recoveries from the 2008 financial crisis and the recent pandemic, these numbers were unheard of. In fact, the average rate of growth ranged from 1 to 3%. In numbers perspective, 5% is an additional $1.27 trillion every year if based on the gross domestic product of 2022. In order to achieve this, he already has policies aligned that will help increase the rate of entrepreneurship and job creations, which includes reducing taxes and regulation, increasing competition, and promoting investment. One of his biggest key factors that he believes will help reach this goal is to stop the current energy crisis and end the woke agenda of climatism.
For most of our national history, we've grown at 4%. If we're able to solve that worker problem, if we're able to unshackle the American energy industry from the demands of this climate cult, and it is a cult, and I will dismantle it and abandon it and call out this farce, this hoax.
Furthermore, he finds it necessary to reform the Federal Reserve System due to the organization's repeated failures of trying to balance unemployment and inflation, and playing as the ultimate financial authority over the US's economy. In addition, they're notoriously known to create future problems for the economy in which they were supposed to thwart in the first place.
The Fed has, even over the last couple of decades, created some of the very financial crises that it was supposed to have helped avoid. Because you want to know why? They have the mistake of using late cycle market indicators like wage growth as a signal as though they're leading indicators of inflation. And so that does a couple of things. One, you have a Federal Reserve that right when they see those late cycle indicators like wage growth take off, they treat them like a leading indicator to raise rates precisely into a business cycle that's already over its peak. And what does that do? It actually accelerates the down cycle and the downturn in the economy, leading to a credit crisis, which then leads to calls for bailouts. We saw that in 2000, we saw that in 2008, and we're now beginning to see it in the year 2023.
Thus, he sees it as precedents to wipe out the useless 90% of the Fed's headcount and refocus their vision to their one original purpose.
We need to restore a U.S. Federal Reserve that goes back to stabilizing the U.S. dollar as a unit of measurement.
In conclusion, his 5 policy commitments under this mission statement is: 1. Drill, frack, and burn coal. Abandon the climate cult and unshackle nuclear energy. Number 2. Put Americans back to work. Dismantle Lyndon Johnson's failed Great Society. Number 3. Incentivize trade schools over hollow college degrees. Sorry, gender studies majors. Number 4. Launch deregulatory Reagan 2.0 revolution. Cut more than 75% headcount amongst U.S. regulators. And number 5. Limit the U.S. Fed's scope. Stabilize the dollar and nothing more. In addition, Ramaswamy also concentrates on China as a huge economic and security problem for the US, which leads to his 3rd mission statement, which is to declare independence from communist China. He also pinpointed that a lot of American companies have very close business relationships with China that ultimately completely neutralizes the US as an economic threat.
My concerns either. I have concerns about Tim Cook and Apple jumping to the tune of the CCP like a circus monkey. I have my concerns about Elon Musk as well. I mean, he has made comments in recent weeks about Taiwan that I found highly problematic. saying that it should annex itself as a special administrative region of China. But I think this is a broader problem with American capitalism, where China is deputizing American companies. That's the gun they have to the head of American capitalists to say that you can't actually do business in China or get favors from the CCP if you say something unfavorable about the CCP.
So essentially, Ramaswamy aims to decrease the US's dependence on China to help safeguard American sovereignty. Two of the main industries that he accentuates on advancing to thwart China are artificial intelligence and semiconductors. Furthermore, Ramaswamy aims to stop China's unfair trade practices, and by doing so will help protect American intellectual property and ensure national security. He also wants to make the Chinese Communist Party accountable for the disruption they caused due to the coronavirus. Thus, his 5 policy commitments are: number 1, hold CCP accountable for COVID-19, use all financial levers; number 2, achieve semiconductor independence, secure our modern way of life; number 3, stop CCP affiliates from buying American land; number 4, use our military to annihilate Mexican drug cartels, defend against the CCP's opium war; and number 5, ban US businesses from expanding in China until the CCP stops cheating. However, ultimately, a lot of problems that Ramaswamy wants to solve have been created and sustained due to the past, present, and most likely future managerial bureaucracy. Hence, we come to his 4th mission statement, which is to dismantle the managerial bureaucracy. So what is a managerial bureaucracy? Well, a simple explanation would be a collection of non-elected government officials. Of course, on paper, this doesn't seem to be a problem because there are a lot of things to accomplish within the 3 branches of government. However, the problem starts to arise when there are way too many of these officials in the hierarchical order, so much so that the government becomes very inefficient. In fact, there are many indirect and direct negative consequences. The 2 most commonly seen problems are stifled innovation and hindered economic growth. As recently as April 10th, 2023, the US Internal Revenue Service is planning to hire nearly 20,000 staff members over 2 years using $80 billion of taxpayer funds. Their main goal is to improve tax enforcement and customer service, but Ramaswamy believes that this is an entirely unnecessary hiring and at the very least is a waste of $80 billion. Thus, Ramaswamy has elaborated a plan to help completely deconstruct the managerial bureaucracy to the point that it helps eradicate corruption and waste. This plan includes 5 policy commitments, which are: number 1, shut down toxic government agencies such as the Department of Education, FBI, IRS, and more, and then rebuild from scratch when required. Number 2, end civil service protections for bureaucrats and put in place 8-year term limits instead. Number 3, eliminate federal employee unions by repealing JFK's Executive Order 10988. Number 4, move more than 75% of federal employees out of Washington, D.C. and end pro-lazy remote work option. Number 5, cut wasteful expenditure and have the White House, not individual agencies, submit budget requests to Congress. Not only does Ramaswamy believe that the managerial bureaucracy is inefficient, but he also believes that it is very dangerous. In fact, he highlights another prevalent issue within the US government and economy, and that is the weaponization of agencies. This comes to his final mission statement, which is to end weaponization of government and financial markets. First things first, Ramaswamy believes that politics should be separate from the capital markets in corporate America. Why does he say that? It's because of the fact that the economic institutions as well as the political ones work hand in hand to help the powerful few within the United States. In fact, Vivek highlights that one of the reasons he started to get into politics occurred due to the social upheavals during the pandemic, and his organization was trying to coerce him to send a message to the various social uprisings.
That resigned after I said something about the importance of protecting free speech and the importance of actually governments not deputizing private companies to censor speech through the back door.
So why'd they resign?
Well, they resigned because A, they felt like that was going to be a threat to the proverbial our democracy if people weren't actually able to control the spread of hate speech and misinformation and incitements to violence, as they called it. And then they took issue with my broader view that companies, in their capacity as companies, should not engage in these social and political questions.
Black Lives Matter came to you and said, issue a statement.
Well, actually, it was my own employees in the company. That was just what every firm in the country was doing, was issuing a statement that ended with, and capital B, Black Lives Matter.
I support Black Lives.
I support Black Lives Matter. I mean, they had different ways of leading up to it, but it was a carbon copy statement. It's almost as though the same consultants sold it up, wrote it up and
What's wrong with that?
Sold it to every company. Well, I think that the thing that's wrong with it is that the capital BLM movement stood for values that A, were antithetical to my own beliefs, but B, I believe, demonstrably harmful even to the very black Americans who they proclaimed to stand for, such as dismantling the nuclear family structure. I reject the idea that we advance black empowerment by rejecting the nuclear family structure.
Black Lives Matter rejected nuclear families?
That was on their website as of the mid-2020, at the time that I was evaluating whether or not this was an organization that I could, in good conscience, say something positive about, to endorse. I couldn't do it, and I didn't want to be in the position. To me, leadership, even if you're leading a company, means being honest with the people you lead.
Fairness and integrity are the two values that he believes every American should promote in order to help make a more just, transparent system within both the government and financial markets. Thus, his 5 policy commitments include: number 1, pardon defendants of politicized prosecutions, including Trump, Mackey, and peaceful January 6 protesters. Number 2, hold Congress accountable for a hush money fund. Taxpayers should not subsidize sexual misconduct. Number 3, publish the Jeffrey Epstein client list. Government should not use police power to shield select elites. Number 4, rescind Biden's ESG rule for retirement funds. Get politics out of corporate America and capital markets. And number 5, oppose central bank digital currencies. Fight all plans for digital currency, a dangerous scheme for government control over our bank accounts. Honestly, I think Ramaswamy is a breath of fresh air who is the product of the American dream. This can be proven with even just his personal background, where his immigrant Indian parents instilled in him and his brother very important values of hard work, dedication, family, integrity, and honesty, which are core pillars of what it means to be a good American citizen. I respect Ramaswamy for running as a Republican not only because it is socially so much harder to be accepted by the public as a conservative minority, since all major institutions are heavily left-leaning, but also because he is trying to help create a new image for the party as an unapologetic political space where people can voice their opinions freely, despite how hateful it can potentially get. Only then does Ramaswamy believe that people can find commonality within one another and fight for each other as a nation. So,
And allowing people to say hateful things also must be allowed?
Yes,
Because
what is hateful to one person is still a different person's opinion. And we're a nation founded on the expression of diverse opinions. It is who we are. It's in our nature. And look, I also think that it's important for peace in a diverse democratic society, in any diverse republic or democracy. You need to let people speak, because if you tell people they can't speak, they scream. If you tell people they can't scream, they tear things down. All right, this is controversial to say, but I don't think January 6, 2021 happened because we had too much free speech in this country. I think in part it happened because we didn't have enough. And so I think that if we want to prepare for a world in which people settle their conflicts through physical force rather than through free speech and open debate, history has a lot to teach us about that. That is how you have a declining nation where people are left to just sort it out with sticks and stones. I'd rather sort it out through free speech and open debate, which is actually the vision that our founding fathers had when they said the First Amendment came first. For a reason, it was the one that made all the other ones even matter.
keep a close eye on this guy because he's at least talking about key issues that need to be discussed within the political climate in the US. I mean, hey, he's been proving this point time and time again by going to literally every podcast and interview out there and debating his viewpoints no matter how much the hosts agree or disagree with him. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and comment down below which candidate you would like to see next.